You're listening to Commander's Demand with your host, Sports PSP, exclusively on the GRYD Network.
Yo, what's up, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying the rest of their day. Welcome to another episode of Commander's Demand. It's a podcast in which I discuss things surrounding the Washington Commanders, giving you my thoughts, my opinion on the team that I love and root for. And today you're going to have a very exciting episode. Want to talk about the 16th overall pick, which Washington currently has in the NFL draft. The NFL draft is about a few weeks away, folks. And I thought about it very long and hard. 16th overall pick. I like some of the moves that we made in the offseason, of course, such as acquiring Andrew Willie, Nick Gates to beef up the offensive line. I love the fact that we did give De'Aaron Payne his contract. Happy. But we have the 16th overall pick, folks. I would feel a lot more happy if we had like a top 5, top 10 pick in the draft or top 3. Because that way we can get a big time prospect. You know, in my last episode, I felt like, you know what? Perhaps it's time we should trade our first round pick and maybe a couple of draft picks to try to get our hands on Lamar Jackson. Given the fact that Lamar Jackson has made it official that he wants to be traded. He requested a trade according to what he posted on his Twitter. And the reason why we should get Lamar Jackson, because after all, it's a quarterback era. Even though it's great to have a defense, an excellent offensive lineman, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, etc., etc. Nevertheless, in this era, you're only going to go as far as your quarterback takes you. And I feel like Lamar Jackson is the right guy for us, given what he's accomplished, given the fact that he's 45-16 as a starter. In my opinion, he's a top 10 quarterback in the National Football League. Regardless on what I think, Martin Mayhew, the general manager and head coach, Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders, strongly feel otherwise. They won't pursue Lamar Jackson, and that they are going to go forward with Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett. Okay. If those are the quarterbacks that they're going forward with, if I'm Washington, and if we have the 16th overall pick, now we could look at other needs, such as offensive linemen to protect our quarterback and to help our running game. We could use someone on defense, particularly DBs, like a Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, or any other skill position on defense. But you know what? If Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett are our quarterbacks for the upcoming season, we got to make a motherfucking splash. And that motherfucking splash is that we got to go for a skilled player at offense. And that is Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington, the tight end of the Georgia Bulldogs. I would love to have someone with his skill set, his size, his frame at that position because, and I like Logan Thomas. This is nothing personal against Logan Thomas, but he's getting up there in age. He's in his 30s now. And a couple of years ago, he is coming off a torn ACL. And I don't see him as the long-term future for the Commanders. I think he's replaceable. With Darnell Washington, I see potential of this guy being a damn good tight end. Top 8, top 10 tight end in the NFL. He's big. He's physical. He's athletic. He can be a red zone threat. He could be a quarterback's dream in the red zone. And I think the sky's the limit for this kid. Can you imagine if Washington gets a guy like that? And we haven't had a great tight end, going back to Jordan Reed. And I love Jordan Reed, going back to his early days in Washington. And Jordan Reed was a heck of a tight end. Only problem with Jordan Reed was durability. Durability. That was the only problem Jordan Reed had. Darnell Washington is about 21 years old. He's a freak of nature at 6'6", 260 plus pounds. He can do it all. And I'm thinking, why not? Like Ron Rivera, we know, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, we know what you are as a defensive mind. I respect what you are defensively, but I think it's time to help out our offense, and especially who you have as an offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy. This is his first year that he is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders. Wouldn't you, Washington, Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew, accommodate Eric Bieniemy by getting him a tight end? And I'm not saying that Darnell Washington is going to be Travis Kelce. I do think he'll be very good in the NFL. I wouldn't go that far. But wouldn't you help out Eric Bieniemy by getting him a weapon on the offense as far as utilizing him, creating schemes, creating game plans, plays for him? Wouldn't you want to do that if you're Washington? And wouldn't you want to help out your quarterback, Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, since you made it clear you do not want to pursue Lamar Jackson? You made it clear. So I think if you're Washington, you got to give us something. You got to give us, the fans, what we want, what we hope, what we can look forward to. We can look forward to Darnell Washington. And you put Darnell Washington with Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, with that offensive talent, and with the quarterbacks we currently have. If Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett gives us some spectacular performances, guess what, folks? The narrative could be, my God, look how much talent, look how much potential Washington has offensively. It could actually look great for the offense, and it will also look great for Eric Bieniemy as far as getting a head coaching job. This could make us look formidable. This could make us look legitimate and respected. So, I'm going with the splash. And I'm going with Darnell Washington. Because I feel like he could be a game changer. He could be a difference maker for our Commanders. And if Washington, but I just don't trust Washington. I just don't trust Martin Mayhew, and I don't trust Ron Rivera. I feel like they're going to go with the same conservative approach. And if they do that, it's going to piss off a lot of Washington fans. That is much I know. I hate to say that this, if it costs us, then it's going to cost Ron Rivera his job. It's going to cost Martin Mayhew his job. It's going to cost people their jobs. If you keep missing out on talent. If you keep dropping the fucking ball. Speaking of splash, And the reason why I want to go with Splash, because I've talked about Lamar Jackson so much on this podcast. I want to talk about a quarterback I felt like who could have been the next Lamar Jackson. The next Lamar Jackson, except better thrower. I'm referring to Robert Griffin III, also known as RG3. Former number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft going back to 2012. Andrew Luck was selected with the first overall pick. No surprise there. Andrew Luck was the presumptive choice for the number 1 overall pick. A lot of draft experts, most noticeably ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr., Todd McShay, all of them said Andrew Luck is the best quarterback prospect going back to John Elway. Washington had the 2nd overall pick. We traded up in the draft to get RG3. RG3 had a spectacular season at Baylor in 2011. Very spectacular. Cannon of an arm. Had a sensational deep ball. Sensational deep ball. Let me read you RG3's last year in Baylor in 2011. That was also the year, folks, he won the Davey O'Brien Award, the Manning Award, and of course, last but not least, the Heisman Trophy. That year, he threw for 4,293 yards, 37 touchdown passes to only 6 interceptions, a passer rating of 189.5 with a completion percentage of 72.4. He had big-time performances, particularly the game against, unfortunately, my Oklahoma Sooners. And RG3, when he was drafted with the number 2 pick in the draft, I gotta be honest, folks, I was very excited. And RG3, his first year in Washington, he only played 15 games. 9-6 as a starter, but hell of a rookie season. Completed 65.6% of his passes, just 3,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions with a 102.4 passer rating. He also was dynamic, not only with his arm, but also with his legs. 120 attempts rushing, 815 yards, which is 6.8 yards a carry, and 7 touchdowns. He also won Offensive Rookie of the Year that year, and he also made the Pro Bowl, and he also helped the Commanders get to the playoffs. I still remember the game RG3 beat the Dallas Cowboys in the season finale. That brought a lot of joy. And then things ended, unfortunately, in the playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks. Washington did have a 14-0 lead. He did throw for a couple of touchdowns. Then later in the game, when Seattle had the lead, RG3 got hurt. He had to rehab the entire offseason. He had the bad knee injury. And then from there, things just went downhill. He was never the same as far as with his production. In large part due to injuries and in large part of ego, because from what I heard from sources, it was reported that RG3 at the time, he didn't want to run the spread option offense anymore. That led him to winning the Heisman Trophy, led him to being the number 2 overall pick, led him to having the success he had in his rookie season. He ran away from that offense, and he wanted to be a traditional pocket passer, like a Peyton Manning. This is what I heard from Skip Bayless say, going back to his days on ESPN2's First Take, and what he's also said on Undisputed, because Skip Bayless was a huge RG3 fan, as well as myself. And, RG3, it was like, damn. I'm like, looking back, as I reminisce, folks, when I look at RG3's career, when it first started and where it is now, it was like, damn, man, why us? Why RG3, but why also us, Commander fans? I mean, like, shit, we can't get anything right. I mean, throughout our history, throughout our franchise's history, we fucking struggled when it comes to quarterbacks. We just can't find a way to get it fucking done. And the reason why I feel like, I just feel like had it not been for injuries, RG3 would have been Lamar Jackson as a better passer, because I felt like RG3, when healthy, he had the electric, he had everything about him. Athleticism, speed, cannon of an arm. He had all that and then some. And it sucks because I just look back and I feel like, damn, what could have been, what should have been. We could have had the savior for our franchise. We could have had that type of quarterback for the next 10 plus years. And we've struggled. You know, after RG3, we did have Kirk Cousins for a couple of seasons. And Kirk Cousins, he was a solid quarterback. Solid quarterback, 2015. He did help Washington make the playoffs. You know, he had multiple consecutive seasons while in Washington of throwing for over 4,000 yards. Of course, everyone remembers the comeback victory against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2015, you know, in which Washington won that game. And then after the game, I think he's heading into the locker room and he's saying, "You like that? You like that?" Then after Kirk Cousins, you know, we had Alex Smith. Unfortunately, Alex Smith had injuries. Then we drafted Dwayne Haskins. After 2 years, unfortunately, it didn't work. And then, of course, you know, God rest his soul. I'm just like, damn, man, what could have been? I know I bring up Lamar Jackson so much on the show. I feel like I have a fucking obsession, folks. Damn it. Maybe it's my OCD. But the reason why I'm just tired, man, I'm just tired of seeing all this pain and all this fucking struggle that we as Washington fans have to fucking endure, is because we hear it every single day from, like, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants fans. Anytime whenever I walk outside my house, and when I talk football, whether friends, family members, or whoever, everyone has to laugh at Washington. Because I feel like we've been a shit show organization. We've been a shit show franchise. Everything is shitty when it comes to us. Our organization, led by Daniel Snyder, the worst owner. Our stadium. I just feel like we can't get anything right. Nothing right. It's just hard. And it's just hard that to still deal with this. It's just really hard, man. I mean, I feel like sometimes whenever we keep having bad seasons, or when we keep missing out on great talent, I literally feel like shit. Matter of fact, I feel like after this podcast, I need to go out for a fucking drink. Or 2. Or 3. Because I can't stand this shit anymore. But enough depression. I want to end off this podcast a couple of days ago, April 1st. As you all know, Sean Taylor, the late great Sean Taylor, God rest his wonderful soul, would have been his 40th birthday. Tragically, his life back in late 2007 was cut short at the age of 24. Sean Taylor was a baller. He was a beast. He was ferocious. He was a hard hitter. I mean, Washington, we drafted him, I think, the 5th overall pick back in that 2004 NFL draft, coming out of the U, Miami. Man, I miss him. I miss him, man. Either he's one of, if not the reason why I became a Washington fan. And to be honest, folks, no matter how much shit, no matter how much criticism I get on a continuous basis regarding my team, I don't get shit from Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, or any fans regarding Sean Taylor. Because whenever I'm asked this question, why are you a Commanders fan? I tell them it's Sean Taylor. And once I mention his name, they don't say anything. They're like, I understand. I got you. I get the head nod. I don't hear anything. I don't hear any rebuttal. I don't hear anything because they recognize just how great he was as a football player. And what could have also been as well. Had it not been for his death, Sean Taylor, apologies to Troy Polamalu, apologies to Ed Reed, I believe Sean Taylor was on his way to becoming the greatest safety of all time. Because he had the size, he had the speed, he had the physicality, he was tough, he was ferocious, he had so much fucking swag and heart. He's not, to say that he's loved would not be, is an enormous understatement. He's revered and will always be revered with the Washington franchise. He will always be revered in the NFL community. Go listen to a lot of teammates who played with Sean Taylor. Ryan Clark from ESPN does a great job, mind you. Go listen to Santana Moss. Go listen to Clinton Portis. Go listen to his former teammates who played at the U. They will go listen to ESPN NFL Network NFL analysis Louis Riddick. They will tell you not only how great Sean Taylor was, the football player, but they will also tell you how great of a person Sean Taylor was. And I want to end off on the show by saying thank you, Sean Taylor. Thank you for your greatness. Thank you for what you contributed for the Washington franchise, what you gave us for fans. You will always be missed, my brother. And you will never, ever, ever be forgotten. And I just want to say thank you for, just thank you for everything as a Washington fan, man. Words cannot begin to express how much he's meant to me. I love him. Still do. I miss him. Just want to say thank you. Thank you all for tuning in on Commanders Demand. It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying the rest of the day, folks. Please, just enjoy life, man. Just enjoy life. Don't take it for granted. And as always, God bless.